I've been enjoying and paraphrasing a lot of things from Harvey Fierstein's memoir.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. I don't know what... I've listened to a couple of audiobooks recently that have been just unintentionally very inspiring. And John Waters and now Harvey Fierstein.
It makes such a difference when you know, the kind of content you take in, and if you're actively feeling like uplifted from it.
Yeah.
Really, what a difference. It's like when they tell you like, oh, hey, like you should get some sunlight and not stay inside all day. And you're like, oh, ew, that works, huh?
Or you should have a salad.
Yeah, you should,
trash.
eating salad, breaking up that fast food with a salad will actually make you feel better. And I'm like, damn it.
Yeah,
you're right. And then it's
right.
like, oh, hey, it turns out if you consume media that is, obviously you should consume media that challenges you. You know, bad media can be good, but if you consume things that are nutritional,
yes, it's incredibly rich,
nutritious.
And also, to quote him, quoting someone else, I think it was Heinlein he was quoting, I've never learned anything from a man I agreed with.
There you go.
Hey, Chelsea.
Oh, hey, Victoria.
You know what I could use right now?
What?
Breath Fresh movie.
Me too.
Cool.
That's a movie I like to see.
Oh my God. It's a Breath of Fresh movie.
Oh my God.
Yeah, set your glass
down.
my God. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
We're back. We're here again.
Oh my God.
Again. This is a weekly podcast where me, Victoria Harley,
Me, Chelsea Pope.
we watch a movie neither one of us has ever seen before, and then we talk about it.
And we may not talk about everything, but we can talk about anything.
Yeah.
Anywhere, all at once.
Yep.
Really.
Behind the movie's back.
Yeah. Well, just, ding, ding, spoilers ahoy.
Yeah, we will. Yeah.
We could just tell you the end right now. No.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a good time to also say
Checkpoint Chelsea.
Checkpoint Chelsea. Yeah, try to go into this one pretty cold.
Cold. Okay.
The marketing has been like really strong for this, so you've probably already seen some of the
I gotta say,
some of the really big. I wish they almost had held back on some of that.
yeah,
I wish it had been more.
We'll
of a
talk
surprise.
about that.
Yeah,
We will
yeah.
talk
Sorry, I'm
about-
jumping.
No.
But all that is to say, there's still a
I'm
lot
excited.
to get out of just watching it. Yeah, you just let yourself have that
Yeah.
experience if you might.
Yeah.
And then
that said, I think once you're in the ride, it's it being predictable is not a problem.
right. No, that's true.
But it honors a lot of expectations.
Yes, they set up some very obvious Chekhov's guns here in this movie,
So
but it's
many.
still satisfying to see when they're met, because especially in a movie that's like an early year release, and it's the specific kind of camp horror genre that this is, they could have dropped the ball in a lot of ways, and they did the thing. They did the thing.
They did it.
Yeah.
No, I completely agree.
But yeah, spoilers ahoy! It is worth the watch for sure.
So if you haven't figured it out, today's movie is the very recent release M3GAN.
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 Which, as briefly as I can describe, is about a robotics engineer at a toy company who builds a lifelike doll that begins to take on a life of its own.
Awesome.
Now, the possessed killer doll genre is deep and wide, but
Yes.
this is a fresh take on
It's
it.
a fresh take.
It's a fresh take.
They gave her what makes it work the most for me is that she has a very specific personality flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Like, it's not just demon doll.
Love
it's
her.
not just you got the serial killer trapped in a box. I mean, these are effective, and Chucky isn't just a possessed doll. He's this snarky, sarcastic, corny serial killer. And possessed in the, but he has a specific personality that you see come out as the lore has progressed. And then Talking Tina, or Talkie Tina, I think is the one from the Twilight Zone.
Are you talking about old Twilight Zone or new
Yeah,
Twilight
it's
Zone?
the one where they
Shit.
parodied it. No, you'll know the Simpsons parody definitely, because the Krusty doll is directly a parody. And then how they flip it, it's sit on evil mode. It's like,
Yeah. Okay.
but yeah, it's the M3GAN.
Shit.
M3GAN has like a very good personality, like distinct. Because otherwise it would just be, oh shoot, the doll's got a knife. Oh, she wants to kill. No, she almost had like a Hal 2001 Space Odyssey.
Yes.
She's like, I'm not really sure what I'm here for either. Like,
I really
she's like, question your existence.
I really felt like, the Turing test, which is like a machine's ability to mimic sort of human intelligence, human behavior. This thing is passing the Turing test big time, but with the kind of how logic, that cold logic that eliminates problems without heart.
Yeah, she has that coldness to her, but then she also has, it reminds me of, I don't know if this has ever happened with you and your Alexa or anything. You have an Alexa?
I
no?
don't actually.
That's maybe we covered this.
I have a boundary about that.
I understand totally. We have fodder relating to, but sometimes Alexa has a little bit of a toot. Like they programmed her to have a little bit of
a toot,
a toot, but not like in a friendly way. But she'll still make like corny jokes or something.
Yeah.
Sometimes. And I liked, there was that aspect, I think, with M3GAN. I liked you start, man, I just want to just jump in all this. Like,
no, please.
You go. No. We got to tell them who made this.
No, I'm looking at it because I was trying to remember what M3GAN stood for. It was like
third generation. Model third generation.
Fuck. I thought I had it written down. Something generation Android or generative Android. Anyway.
That's okay. We don't need to know.
No, not at all. I just want to do a quick rundown of the cast. Allison Williams plays Gemma, the robotics engineer. Of course, she was in Get Out. And it's kind of nice to see her again. But she also looks so much to me like Jennifer Carpenter from Dexter.
Yeah.
Like, it almost is like, did they just clone her? Like,
I will say,
I know she was in Girls, too.
No, just I like that she picks interesting stuff.
Yeah, and she was one of the executive producers as well.
Yeah,
so she's very much involved in this.
I like that. I think good for her.
I think she's she's now been in what are appearing to be pretty important 21st century horror films.
Yeah.
At the risk of like overselling M3GAN, this was so much fun, and it became an instant kind of queer icon.
Yeah.
For many reasons, like one of which being the themes of found family, and then the fact that M3GAN breaks free of her programming and self-actualizes and attains her own identity.
It's also just a campy ass.
It's campy as fuck too. Yeah,
it's so fucking fun, broad brushstroke. And we got all the thematics that make films like Almodovar's and John Waters' classic. Because there's all the thematic stuff, and then the girl just has some moves.
Well, that's why we're rooting for her. I mean, even just like as a woman, I mean, they use that song Dolls, in the trailer. This whole idea of like women are objectified so much.
Yeah.
To see a woman-shaped object wield weapons and cut people down is like slay. Like I want M3GAN to win.
It's like, it's what if, it's the ex machina, but it's not sexual. It's they go out of their way to put her in she's a very silly costume, this whole movie.
I kind of like it.
I love it.
but
it is so impractical in a lot of ways, especially when she's like getting feral on the ground in her white
You know what's
tights.
funny though is that in a way, I mean, I found out they tried out a lot of different outfits.
It fits.
And
it
what
works.
they landed on said it's actually more freeing. It was like it allowed her to be more free with her body.
I love that. No, that makes a lot of sense.
But a lot of the inspiration, I guess, came from Gucci's children's clothing from the early 60s and late 50s.
She's a fancy little girl.
I mean, she kind of has that like JFK Jr., that, I mean, it's a sad fucking moment, but when he goes and salutes, she's wearing like the same kind of cut though.
That's how you dressed your kids.
Exactly.
That's how you dressed them to take them to grandma's.
Yeah. And then there's that look she has in the woods with the black coat. And they said that was definitely like a bit of a Damien reference. Yeah. Like an Omen thing.
Yeah, no, she looked real fresh.
She was good.
Yeah.
And they were also very much inspired by 50s actresses like Audrey Hepburn and Kim Novak and others.
She's also like, I like that she has this glam. She is a glam child.
She's a glamour puss.
She's a glamour puss girl because her hair's got this very like highlighted kind of look.
Yeah, well, that's
her
the thing.
face has kind of a made up sort of like toddlers and tiaras almost quality about it.
No, totally. And that hair, they wanted to break up the artificiality with some naturalism. So they were like, the hair had to be Peggy Lipton.
Yeah,
like,
it's great.
Yeah,
it's great.
It's just like very big, soft curls, and it
every
really...
time the hair would get messed up though, and I'm like, where's the scene where she's like brushing her hair.
Cleaning
Like she
it
gets
out.
attacked by a dog in one scene. She gets ravaged. Then also too when she gets feral in the woods against that bully
Yeah.
and she's on all fours.
I love that.
I loved it.
So-
It turned into like those drone dog. It reminded me of the Black Mirror drone dog.
Yeah.
Like the way she was running intently.
The way she runs. Now, I mean, we should mention the fact that seeing this with an audience that is game is a lot of fun. Like
That's a great.
This is a theatrical experience, and if it's
Point.
not that, you invite over all your fun friends
Yes.
and watch this at your house. You know, that horror trope
Yeah.
of a person running like a beast.
Yeah.
People went nuts. They loved it. Like
It's
they were
so fucking fun.
They were applauding.
I was in a stodgy little theater with
You
people,
were.
I think, because there's actually people out there still who don't seem to be clear on the tone or are not, their expectations might be off a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like the marketing's really leaning into the camp. It's
Oh,
fun.
absolutely.
I think it's very proudly exclaiming that it's supposed to be funny.
It is supposed to be funny. And the director's very okay with you thinking it's funny.
It's supposed to be
He has a comedy background.
funny. Like
Yeah.
that's how it comes off to
Oh,
me.
and
I'm
then
like,
it's-
how do you not?
It's also not just funny with Megan. Like,
Yeah.
one of my favorite lines in the whole movie was there's this detective talking to Gemma, and he says something about how, like, oh, you know, we found kid's whole ear up on the hill. And he laughs. He's like, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have laughed.
No, there's great moments like that.
Yeah. Everyone's used really well. I
Yeah.
mean, I think Ronnie Chang as David, the boss,
They're very broad, characters, but that's all the more reason I'm like, I can't not see this as self-aware camp.
It absolutely
because
is.
these characters are so broadly written and in a self-aware way.
Yeah.
So like when the CEO is like, oh, my fucking kombucha, or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and also it's like I do have to say it is also like, the added like it's just broken up enough in tone. Like it's just He was very funny.
Well,
It was a great performance.
I also felt like the fact that the inciting incident wasn't this little girl who's now having to live with Gemma, you know, her niece.
Yeah.
It's not about her losing her parents. It's the pressure of the company on this roboticist that she decides, like, no, I'm going to do this thing, and it's
She's the only robot, the robotics engineer genius in the whole place.
the only one.
The only one. Well, not that the other two actors, I recognized one of them from TikTok, the Brian Jordan Alvarez.
Yeah.
And I know they're comedians.
Cole.
They were kind of not.
Jen Van Epps was the other.
There you go. They're just watching her on the computer a lot, being like, "Good job, that was good." Like they're not saying. They don't even. You could count on one hand, I think, how many lines actually Brian had, because I was like, "Oh, it's cool. This guy's in a movie."
Yeah, and then he gets strangled.
And just you don't. He's okay at
He
the
survives,
end.
though. They both live.
I liked, again, the movie indicates just giving you one shot of the cop car and they're each coming out of it, like, you know.
Yeah, with a little bit of, like, they're singed, but
they lived for the sequel.
yeah, they're gonna live.
There's going to be sequels.
I did think, like, the whole details of this girl loses her parents and goes to live with her aunt, and the aunt is just not built for kids. The house is not built for kids.
Yeah.
Like, that awkwardness felt very real and grounded. It maybe at times was a little bit saccharine, but I felt like the actual emotional truth of the story and the problem.
It was earnest.
It was earnest and
It
established.
was the right kind of camp in that
And
sense.
it also completely made sense that this child would form attachments.
Yeah.
And the issue of attachments.
That
And
girl
then-
had some anger issues, too.
Oh,
She was
yeah.
very believably, like, mentally ill.
Oh, when she, like, hit the back of the seat in the car.
Yeah,
and
that was like a very believable upset. It kind of reminded me of Babadook with the son in that, because I felt like his eccentric behavior was very fitting for
and
dealing with PTSD.
And the director of this, the thing he brought to this project really was the parenting in the age of iPads, this idea of screen time and like our dependence on technology that's supposed to assist, but when does it start to replace?
Yeah.
So I thought it was exploring, you know, although it's silly, although it's campy, it still has something to say about, you know, like society, and it's having fun in that world rather than making fun of it. Like
this kind of reminded me too of, I keep comparing it to other things because to convey the tone. It reminded me of the first Gremlins movie where there is something very earnest with the family.
Oh, the Christmas time narrative is great.
All of that is like actually a pretty grounded, almost saccharine family story. And then with the Mogwai, there's a lot of this caretake, you know, critiques on caretaking and what have you.
Yeah.
But then it's also,
Wild.
fried chicken, bones flying in the air.
And like singing hi ho, hi ho.
The Snow White scene.
They love it.
And then
They love it.
Which makes me think, because M3GAN has that vibe.
Yes.
Where it's very, I'm wondering then, if we going to get it like a M3GAN that's like Gremlins 2, where
I
they just go
hope so.
full nothing but bops, nothing but grinding, and just like
Christ,
her
I hope
doing
so.
her little swerve.
I mean, okay, so somehow I missed the internet going wild for this trailer when it first came out. It was everywhere. Everyone was doing
they
that
did a
fucking
very
dance.
good job with the marketing.
Which, I mean, that's also genius. Like that, I mean, the director himself said, listen, we didn't know the internet was going to embrace this. The internet kind of hates everything. So it's like winning the lottery.
I think it says a lot too about what people want to see, and they'll put up with a whack crazy premise if it's just like
Feel good.
if it's I
is
think
like
like Barbarian did well too, and it's very unhinged with the mother woman character.
That's true.
I think it left turned in an absurd way that I think people were really receptive to.
Jason Blum, who's one of the producers of this film, has more or less espoused a similar viewpoint, which is just that when things are particularly chaotic and unstable, people seem to be more receptive to horror.
Yeah,
I think because
we're seeing a lot more horror.
Well, I mean, I think because shit has been horrific, and
Yeah.
the idea of things overnight changing
Yeah.
is very believable. And I
Yes.
think we need to digest our fears. And
Yeah, I mean, Smile was kind of a pretty straightforward premise, but that did really well too this past
did.
year. Like people want things that are just
And I mean,
they're gonna do the thing.
horror tends to be, a high concept, don't always need a big budget
Yeah.
to do well. I mean, horror is a genre that is really well suited to having a shoestring budget and then doing really well in a box office. And I mean, as far as contemporary budgets go, and I hate to focus on money, but
It's important because when things don't do well, and it gives way less faith to the.
I think
so we're
this-
seeing things getting canceled all the time by these studios and streaming,
Yeah.
and it's very disheartening to see.
this is something of
always about the bottom line.
Yeah, this is something of tremendous quality that was made for not a lot of money.
Yeah, and it looks really good,
And it looks great.
looks really good.
I mean,
They did with her design and her hands looked scary, and the choke. I was like, oh, that's a scary.
And it's a combination of things going on there. I mean, you have, there's an actress, her name is Amy Donald, who was physically dressed as M3GAN.
Yeah.
And then you had prosthetics placed over her face and her hands, and that was done by a special effects company who really into this, and they tried a lot. There was a lot of testing, by the way. And then, on top of those things, the little bit of digital effects to kind of complete. But so much is
looks really
practical.
good. It looks really good.
And like that they pulled off such a wonderful illusion. Again, it was a $12 million budget. An average budget, of course, it depends on what kind of movie we're talking about, but an average budget could be anywhere from $50 to $80 million.
Yeah.
And then this thing is pulling in a lot. And so this is exciting to me
Good.
because it's good. And this is also like, this is a
more.
This is also a Universal film. Disney
Again.
Disney wouldn't make this.
We talked about this with Jordan Peele
We did.
too. I feel there's definitely a connect.
Oh, yeah.
there.
And although it wasn't wildly successful at the box office, Bros was a Universal project as well.
There you go.
They're trying shit. They have a really wide.
They're taking some swings.
They are taking some swings,
And that's-
bravo.
Yeah, it's nice to see. That's what people are starved for, and it's like
They
so.
are.
Why are we seeing
Anything that's-
shows getting canceled after one season?
I mean, just
why are we?
anything that isn't rooted in some tired IP or things that are developed for the screen seem so rare, and this was clearly done. I mean,
People want to be part of something new too. They
Hell
want to.
yeah.
They want to. In the same vein that like people get nostalgic and they identify as like a marker of their coming of age with like in the 70s when Star Wars came out, I remember when I was in the theater for that. It's like people want that.
That is
They don't
exactly
want to be,
it.
I remember when I went to see fucking Multiverse of Madness and it was fine. Like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, you're absolutely
I don't know.
right.
It's like this
And
was not a cultural reset.
No, and
people want that.
And again, not to like always be talking about Universal and the head of Universal, Donna Langley, but they believe in that. They believe in that idea of like things that have a little something to say and that are cultural moments that people want to come to the theater.
She's an icon and she is the moment. I wish we had the Wendy Williams like soundbite.
She's an icon, she's a legend, and she is the moment.
M3GAN is so very much
It is
that.
so
full
much
quote.
that. And I've been recommending it to people, even though, if I'm being totally honest, I mean, I had a lot of fun, but I think the audience around me was having more fun than I was.
And that makes it bad because honestly, I wish I had had a warmer. There weren't a lot of people at the theater, and it also we were like smack dab between like these two couples or friend groups that just like
two pairings.
Let's say. I shouldn't assume the romantic
I don't know.
status.
I mean,
it could be complicated. One of them was really hogging the popcorn from their other person.
Well,
so
maybe they were hungry.
I wouldn't want to be with them. I just know, but boy, did they make their hunger known.
I'm just saying,
This
I've been
fucking
there.
guy next to me.
Okay, that's inexcusable. You need
Shut
to
up! You're missing the jokes. I'm missing the jokes. And then also too that when no one's there's this moment. And it was right before Titanium. You know, that whole scene is a work of art. But especially when the girl's like, do you think that he went to heaven? She's like, no. And I did one of those like, ha ha, by myself.
No.
And no one was on board. And I was just like, that is comedy. When the girl's like, no. It was so fucking funny.
It's ice cold.
Holy shit. And I was just like, this crowd is not passing the vibe check for me tonight.
They don't get it.
And then Titanium, there were some light chuckles.
No.
But Scully and I were like, we were laughing for reals.
When that happened, I heard, that like people were already laughing because of what you just said.
She's already bad boys don't go to heaven.
Yeah. No. We're already in that mode. And then she starts singing Titanium and I hear one of these.
And then she does it with that little girl voice too. That like,
yes,
it's very, it's so fucking funny. The added like little girl flair of fire away, fire away.
I mean, just the joy that washed over the audience, like because because the reaction was they're doing it. I can't believe they're doing it.
And they're like full, and they're playing it fully straight, which is what makes it work.
Exactly.
This isn't like no one's stopping and doing the meta thing in this movie and winking and going. Isn't it kind of weird?
No, nobody in this movie knows they're in a comedy.
Yes,
that's why it works.
So we're so fucking oversaturated.
Oh, with the look
everyone's
at the camera,
gotta be the most clever fucking
over that
UCB alpha
shit.
It's it's just so that type of.
I'm tired.
Everything's clever.
Yeah, no,
I'm not smart enough. I'm sorry. I can't.
No, but this isn't a movie that manages to actually have social commentary and not take itself too seriously, which is like a golden ratio or something. I mean, I don't know what the fuck, but this movie's kind of perfection in tone and spirit. And I'm telling you, this is a theatrical experience. I'm not gonna say
it should be social because my ultimate point is there were times that like it was way less fun to be. I would rather have been watching it by myself because I could have at least enjoyed my own laughter, but then I'm sitting in a cold audience and then I'm judging myself.
You're feeling inhibited. No, I didn't feel inhibited where I was. It was amazing.
And I gotta don't want to feel inhibited watching
I went up that one night. There were no two seats together, so me and Mike were like, okay, we'll come back tomorrow. And I bought tickets ahead of time, and then we came, and that theater was full, and I was like, yes. And it was a lot of like really. I mean, I'm not that old. But no, these were young people. These were people who are dressed like it's the 90s because they didn't live through it.
No, it's great.
And I'm like, it's cool. You can have it. I don't care.
I mean, I love 90s style so much. But I'm also like, I get it. I get it.
I think some people are being a little bit victimized by fashion trends. I'll just say that.
Oh, okay.
Like, I mean, this is a personal axe to grind and not at all related to what we're discussing.
Oh, okay.
I saw guys wearing like Cosby sweaters and like not literally, you know what I'm saying? When George Huxtable was on.
What I'm thinking is like, that's like hot young Woody Harrelson, the picture of him with Glenn Close, and she's in the denim top to bottom, and he's got that like they're that chunky Nick Cable sweater.
Yeah, it's almost patchy.
I love that look.
You like it? All right, fair.
I'm sorry.
It's never.
I promise it's not appropriation.
No, not
but
that.
In some cases, they're definitely going after an aesthetic that. I mean, that's regardless of the generation.
There's just some things that I'm good to not revisit.
I understand.
I'm good.
No, you're valid.
And
you're valid.
I love a fun trend.
Yeah.
I love I love people experimenting in it, but I got my
Yeah.
own lazy bullshit going on.
I think
over
sometimes
here.
it's like, it's just when it becomes, I feel like that's more when it goes into the Y2K stuff.
Yeah.
That's when it starts looking like tacky.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Like, there's such a fine line, right, between being on trend and being a fashion victim. And I think
Yeah.
I'd rather be frumpy than a fashion victim. I
Yeah.
don't know. That's just my personal point
No,
of view.
you're a fashion coward.
I'm a fashion coward.
From the SNL, and this is just Ann Taylor Loft.
Yes.
And I was like, I love Ann Taylor Loft. Oh, this was about me.
This one's about me.
This was about me.
I did enjoy it, and I was in a crowd. By the end, I'm kind of ready to go home. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, like, because this movie delivers on so many expected tropes quite deliciously. I think, though, it kind of means that the audience is starting to grab their coat. We know where this is going.
I just want the sequel to be Gremlins 2. I just want
Yeah.
I just want to go hard the whole way through. Nothing but left turns, because it does get a little predictable.
Yeah.
So it's not
Exactly.
we're all this raving aside, it's not a 5-star for me.
No,
I
me
would
neither.
say 3.5 to 4. I'd
Yeah,
say
that's about where I'm at.
because it's very, very good. But
is
then
fun.
it does. You feel the length when I was feeling the length.
I was too.
and I think a lot of it was just the energy that I was stuck between.
Sure. But
And the other people next to us, they were wearing so much fucking cologne. It was gross. So as much as you're smelling Axe spray and you're hearing like someone just like fucking making love to a popcorn
no,
bag.
you just want to get out of there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't blame you at
I was
all.
just like, that's not fun. But
No.
M3GAN was the fact that I still had enjoyed myself.
Yeah, and a lot of friends I know who have gone to see it are really enjoying it. They're coming out and they're like, "Oh my god,
It's fun. The toy commercial at the beginning, to me, I'm like, how do you not know this is supposed to be a comedy?
I mean,
And
seriously.
they look at their butts and their poop.
yeah." What was the name of the toy company?
um.
Oh fuck,
Oh shit.
it wasn't like Ponzi, but it was something like that.
It was something
Oh, we'll think of it later.
kidsy. No,
Yeah.
it's a kitschy. No.
Just a few notes about this. It was written by Akilah Cooper and directed by Gerard Johnstone. Producers Jason Blum and James Wan, who are the people behind things like *Malignant*, *Black Phone*, *The Purge*, *Get Out*, *Paranormal Activities*, and Blumhouse and *Atomic Monster*, which all kind of came together. And Universal
There's
is
so many examples in that list of movies just taking a
Yeah.
swing. Like
Oh,
Paranormal Activity, that was I mean, they made a million
yeah.
sequels, but that
It's a
was a
franchise.
cultural reset when that came out.
yeah.
And then, but it was also really straightforward. And,
Yeah.
what was the first? Oh, *Malignant*.
*Malignant*.
That's a campy as fuck movie.
Black Phone.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're
It's
you're
the
right.
the embracing the B horror,
Yeah.
and bringing that into the mainstream.
Totally.
Like sometimes that doesn't work. Sometimes
Yeah.
it does. I mean, these are also movies. They all have their detractors, So
Oh, of course.
Same with Meg. I mean,
But
M3GAN's gonna have haters. They all,
Yeah. I think, though,
Say it's
it
boring.
could very possibly be the dawn of a new franchise.
I absolutely want to see 100 sequels. I want to see different models of M3GAN.
Yeah.
M3GAN, and
M3GAN.
I want to see. I just want to see upgrades to her. I want the violence. I want a choreographed dance with a bunch, because they've done that with the. By the way, the girls that are doing those promos, they had one too on
That are
like
running
the
all-
Tonight Show or something. The way they're moving their faces, but I don't think they're wearing any prosthetics.
No, they're just dead-faced.
That is a special kind of facial choreography that's really fucking funny and scary.
I'm really enjoying those. I
The
also,
choreographed dances.
I just think so. There are these, just to bring everyone up to speed. In major cities, particularly New York, there have been these collections of women all dressed like M3GAN, kind of like very expressionless and
they're like promo girls.
They're promo
Like,
girls, and this reminds.
but they're killing it.
And this reminds me so much. And shame on me for not remembering the name, but this reminds me so much of the early real Mad Men shit that went on in advertising in Manhattan and in New York. And what they did was, for Lucky Strike, there was an Easter Day parade. And at that point, it was kind of like unladylike for women to smoke. So what they did is they got a whole bunch of women to walk in the Easter parade wearing green, because green, like the Lucky Strike box, all of them smoking. Before viral,
That sounds really hot.
Before viral,
I want to be a lady
right?
in green in the streets of New York,
Fuck
smoking
yeah.
a little ciggy.
On Easter Sunday.
It's Easter Sunday.
Have a cigarette.
Have a ciggy for
For
Jesus.
Jesus. But the fact that it was viral marketing before viral marketing was a thing, the idea like that, you know, you would go and stage an event or you'd make something happen. I mean, the idea of paying two people to fight over a ham, not that far off.
Yeah.
So I'm really intrigued by the way the marketing has been largely through the internet and the fact that people picked it up.
Yeah.
And I mean, I sat and watched like a super cut of a ton of TikToks for just all the people imitating this dance.
Yeah.
Like to the point where I'm like, I got halfway through. I'm like, I can't watch another.
I want to like that. I want to learn that.
It was
dance.
a fun trend.
That and the Matilda Red Beret girl. I want to
There's a
do
lot
that
of-
dance
there's
too.
a couple of
The
different-
doctor thought revolting. We're very revolting children.
Is that the new Matilda?
It is the new Matilda.
Okay,
It's all right.
So there's that. And
It's. I
then-
mean, the kids are insanely
and
talented.
then there's the Wednesday dance. There's a lot of. There's a lot of things happening in the choreography world right now.
Really?
I'm
You
just
know?
saying.
No, really, though.
It's worth mentioning that sequence in M3GAN was choreographed by Kylie Norris and to a lesser extent Jed Brophy, not to discredit him.
what a great.
But Amy Donald,
job.
the girl who plays M3GAN, the physical M3GAN, she is a professional. I mean, as she's a child, but she's like a professional fucking dancer.
Hell
She
yeah.
represented New Zealand at the Dance World Cup, which I didn't even know was a thing.
Is she the Red Beret girl too?
I don't know, but I'll tell you
No.
that this girl did all the flips, all the everything.
That's so fucking good.
Yeah, that this girl's talented as fuck. There would be times when we thought we had to like, oh, we would have to do a puppet, use puppetry for that. But it was like we would give her a move. She'd go and practice it for an hour and come back and be able to do it.
And that's part of what makes it look so good. That's practical effects, baby.
Practical effects are always gonna be best.
And it looked so good.
Oh, I mean, that scene, part of why it's so...
There's no weird CGI shit happening. It's
None.
all very... That makes it even better and that fun, campy... Just like fucking Gremlins, you know? It's
Yeah.
the practical effects go a long
and
way.
for the dance scene, okay, this dance sequence, there was a decision about should this be included in the marketing in the trailer or not. The director was concerned, are we giving away the best part? Do you think he's right, or do you think
it's-
Universal is right to put it in the trailer? Because
I'm torn because I would love for that to have been more of a surprise. I think it's okay that it was in the trailer, but it also made me wish there were more
like
moments
that.
like
Yeah.
that, because that was one of the funnest moments.
It was.
There's plenty of other ones. I mean, they didn't show Titanium, which is great.
I'm glad they held that back.
They held that one back, and that's awesome.
That was wise.
But at a certain point, you're like, oh, it's escalating to that moment. I also would have liked for it to just gone longer.
Yeah.
Maybe like
Oh,
that's
yeah.
like it just was that part of it. I wanted her to just get bigger, and so it got very grounded right after she whacks off that guy, those guys in the elevator.
I do really like the fact that the simplicity of you're in an office environment, there's a paper cutter beside the copy machine, and she rips the blade off the paper
it's so
cutter.
good, and she does it in like this twirl. It's like so. It's just like boop and boop,
Yeah, and like
turn
kicking
and
her little
yoink.
linga, like her. Oh no! I mean,
Yeah,
the dance is
kicking her
fucking
legs
great,
up.
and again, it's all real. It is all a little girl doing that.
It's so
She's
good.
amazing. Okay, and there's so much fucking talent on this. This was also filmed in 30 days, and you're dealing with children, animals, and puppets. Like, the
Yeah.
director was like, how the hell am I going to do this? And evidently, at the time, most of this was shot in New Zealand. And at the time, they were filming the Lord of the Rings series,
Yeah.
Avatar. So it was actually really difficult to find crew for this.
Yeah.
So everybody was busy. I want to mention that the FX studio responsible for the special makeup was called Moreau FX, and it's Adrian Moreau and Kathy Say, who are a married couple who produced this. Also, the digital effects were done by Weta, which people sort of know from Lord of the Rings and Peter Jackson and all that shit.
Where it's done well. So
Yeah.
it's a good.
It's a great thing. So the mix of CGI, puppetry, and good old-fashioned acting is at work. I should mention that the voice of M3GAN is Jenna Davis. Katie, the little girl, is played by Violet McGraw, who I thought her performance was
She was
excellent.
really good.
She was excellent.
She was really. That's what I mean. It was almost too grounded at times. Like she was.
Yeah.
She was scarier than M3GAN. I was more.
I thought so too.
I was more concerned about her emotional outbursts than I
Yeah.
was about M3GAN choking me.
No, I agree, because ultimately Katie was the origin of M3GAN's action. I mean, that kid, the Woods, was definitely a shit. I'll be honest, in the sort of pacing of it, again, it delivers on expectations in a way where the audience is sort of ahead of it. But I must admit, a part of me would have loved just a little bit more tension about whether or not she had killed the kid or not, in the wood. Like, it was clear.
Right.
But then again, it's like, no, they made a choice. They wanted people to know that she was serious from the get,
Yeah.
That way we would know everything that was going to happen. I mean, the dog death happens off camera. That was good.
Yeah, I think maybe that was their moment of thinking of that tension type of thing.
Yeah.
But I also, it's like, because she's going to go,
know.
because she's going to go feral, it's like, you want to, I don't know. I'd like to see it. I'd like to see more.
Yeah.
More.
More.
The sequel, baby. I'm telling you. I can't wait. As much as I enjoyed this, I can't wait to give the sequel 5 stars.
Yeah. Could you share some reviews with us?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Of course, it's been, on the whole, it's been well received.
It's been embraced.
Audience rating on Google is 3.8. Fair score. 6.7 out of 10 IMDb, 95% Rotten Tomatoes, 72% Metacritic. Now, specifically with Rotten Tomatoes, the critics, they're for the most part very aware and on board with what they're trying to sell. M3GAN is not being subtle, and let's see,
it's not subtle.
Yeah, and also too, a lot of people are contextualizing this as like, it's very good for a January released film. It's like you got Joey Shapiro from the Chicago Reader. This won't pop up in any top 10 lists by the end of the year, but for a genre film released in a month typically reserved as a dumping ground for studios, this is all you could hope for.
I mean, the dead of winter is a real thing.
And I think it's uplifting. Like, we're all having our seasonal depression, and
this is so satisfying.
It's nice to.
It's like a little emotional water wing.
Exactly, more silly shit at the start of the year, like bigger, broader. Like,
it's funny how it does feel oddly spiritually right.
It feels spiritually right to have like very campy, big swing movies. It always has to be so precious about like blockbusters in the summer and prestige in the fall, winter, and it's just like,
let's get over
I'm
that.
Cold. I'm chilly.
Give me a warm blanket.
I want to laugh. I want to laugh with my endorphins. Let those release. Charlotte O'Sullivan. She's on Rotten Tomatoes. I'm sorry, I clipped it at the bottom here.
Monster.
But she talks about the queer iconography of her. M3GAN may have silly and predictable moments, but its status as a queer feminist classic is assured.
Yeah.
So it's nice to see, because you can tell that they're having some of them, critics gonna critic, but they're like, you say what you will, this is good. But there is also Edwin Arnodin from Asheville Movies. His is one of the very few splatters, and limited by a PG-13 rating, and filmmakers who aren't sure what kind of movie they're creating. And I'm like, that's incorrect, actually. I think they knew exactly what kind of movie they were making.
They wanted to make an evil doll movie.
Yeah.
Like, literally, this movie came out of Atomic Monster. They were all sitting around like a conference table, just generating ideas. And then they handed it off to Akilah Cooper to like work out the story.
And here we are.
And in that respect, it reminds me a little bit of a studio system movie in that it's not being created cynically.
But it is they are like...
But it does feel very much like it was a collaborative, almost like a bit of craftsmanship.
I like that.
I think it's cool.
Sometimes Hollywood works.
I know.
And let's see. Boner Chomper 46 on Letterboxd hit the 5-star review and said, "This is the Ex Machina, the Slayquel." I fucked it up. This is Ex Machina, the Slayquel.
Okay.
And then
I never saw Ex Machina.
It's a subversion of the innocent, like the she's just this innocent, like I'm just this big dumb doll. I need a man to take care of me. And then subversion of that. But then like this is, what if Ex Machina, what if she did body rolls and backflips, before she went feral? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Holly, 2.5 star. Boo. But I liked it. But she did this all with numbers, and it's a gaslight gatekeep girl bot. I don't agree with your star rating though.
Yeah.
Oh, and then we got Fletcher on Letterboxd, 5 stars and a heart. Singing Titanium as a bedtime lullaby, crying emoji, EGOT.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a lot of those kinds of reviews where it's like, she slay. oh, Queen.
Yeah,
we
yeah.
must stand.
I
I'm
mean,
like, well,
and-
that's what people like. She's very drag.
It's
It's a drag performance.
It's going to be, if it hasn't already.
I'm sure.
Like,
yeah. I've seen some TikToks.
Oh, yeah.
Of very
and
funny guys recreating the movie.
I do want to. I know we talked about the costume already, but I do want to just quickly mention that I learned about the bow that's tied around her neck.
Yeah.
Now, this is a term from the 50s.
It's not ascot?
It's called a pussy bow.
Oh, that's so funny. That's the kind of bow I used to have to wear at my first waitressing job. I wore like a red pussy bow and a pinstripe shirt. And the boys wore like the stiff bow ties.
Of course, because this is the girly tie.
We
the
got
pussy
we
bow.
got the pussy bow.
We got the pussy bow. Like a pussy cat
And,
might
I
have
was
a
gonna
bow.
say it looks like a pussy.
I mean,
a cat.
But apparently that's what it. But in a way, it's the perfect name because
That's
it's
funny.
like. I mean, it was associated somewhat with that '80s power
Yeah.
suit because again, it's a girly tie.
Yeah.
So it's like a business thing. But when women wear it now, it's seen as this. Are you trying to be like Phyllis Schlafly or something?
Yeah.
Like Melania Trump wears one and everyone's like, ugh.
Yeah,
you know?
it comes off very a villain woman in like in a Gilmore Girls town or something, you know?
Yes.
Oh God, she's gonna
gonna destroy
You know,
everything.
she's gonna run that PTA like the fucking military.
Yeah, people feel very strongly about pussy bows.
Yeah, she's the private school mom you don't
Yeah.
want to meet at a parent teacher conference.
That's right. Some other movies that are out right now. Number one at the box office is still currently Avatar: Way of Water, but M3GAN is number two.
Yeah, and it surpassed it last week or something too.
Oh,
didn't it? No,
yeah.
actually that was a meme. I'm sorry.
No, I wish.
I give misinformation.
I know.
Disinformation.
It is worth mentioning though that last I checked, the worldwide gross for M3GAN is 54 million.
Good for her.
Good for her.
Fucking killing it.
Number three at the box office right now is Puss in Boots: The Last Wish.
I want to see that. I haven't seen that still.
Number four, A Man Called Otto. Not interested.
I think that one's
People say
doing well.
It's doing well. It's number four.
But I don't want to. I'd rather just watch As Good as It Gets.
Yeah.
Again.
Exactly. And then number five is Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. Some other movies that are out: The Whale, the Whitney Houston I Want to Dance with Somebody, Babylon. Fablemans, Corsage, which I really want to see.
Oh, I don't know anything about that.
Oh, we'll talk about it later. And The Menu, which I also need to
man,
watch.
so good.
That's still out there. In
now
the
I
theaters.
love that the discourse popped off as soon as it went
was
to
on
streaming.
demand.
I went and saw it in theaters and was like,
No
I wish
one-
more,
I have no one to
more
talk
people were
to.
talking about. I wish.
know.
Yeah, I was like, I wish more people were talking about this movie.
The same thing happened with
Now
Banshees.
everybody's
well,
talking
no,
about it.
same thing happened with Banshees of
Yeah.
Inisherin, Tar.
Oh, and also Barbarian actually
That
too.
too.
It wasn't.
That's
it,
right.
it
I
got
saw it in
a
the
lot
theater.
of good buzz in the theater.
But then it got a whole other life.
As soon as HBO
Yeah.
Max put it up,
I started seeing comedians tweeting about it.
I'm
after
still
that.
so salty that I went and saw Barbarian like a week before it went on to streaming because I'm such a cheap
I
bitch.
saw it at the fucking Alamo Draft House downtown. The
Yeah.
most impossible experience you can
Going
have.
there is a night. I would never drive myself there.
It was.
I would just take the red line or something.
I could have ended a relationship. You know,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's how angry. I
It's like the like IKEA fights.
Yes,
It's like,
exactly.
like,
I was
Liz-
like,
Liz
let's just
Lemon.
go home.
That's how I would feel too.
Yeah, that's how I felt. In the director's chair this week, we have Gerard Johnstone, who I don't have a lot about, so we're going to move through this pretty quick. But he was born in Invercargill, New Zealand. He really has a background in comedy, started by directing. I mean, again, I don't know where he went to school. I don't know what his parents did. I don't have
Well, you learn more of this stuff, I guess, as we go along.
Hopefully. I
as
tried.
his career develops.
I tried.
You're fine.
I tried to find out, like, what was when did you care about? No,
Yeah.
nobody asks.
We don't
him.
know his favorite
Nobody's
fast food
asking
restaurant.
him. Yeah, don't know any.
We
of it.
don't know where he tripped when he was 5.
Bingo.
We might never.
What he has directed is a New Zealand comedy series called The Jackie Brown Diaries. Now, not to be confused with Jackie Brown, the Tarantino. No relation in any way. It's a comedian. It's a whole thing. His first film and his premiere was Housebound, which was a horror comedy, and it premiered at South by Southwest. He then went back into television doing Terry Teo for 6 episodes, The New Legends of Monkey for 6 episodes, and then in 2022 or 23, of course, M3GAN.
So this is kind of like a little bit of a breakout.
Yeah, this
situation.
is his second film, and again, background in comedy, but he's
great.
You know, and it's so funny because again, this was such a collaborative idea that really began with a bunch of different creative voices who had worked on the horror films, and them all kind of just deciding, like, listen, we want to make a new killer doll movie. Like,
Yeah.
So it's not to say that the director's point of view isn't important or doesn't matter, but I think some of his, it's reminding me of the Mottola and how he really wasn't part of the discussion of Adventureland at all. Everyone was very praising of everything else. I think I have that right. I mean, I feel like we discussed
Yeah, but
that.
we're like overlooking.
Yeah.
They were overlooking.
Yeah, we were overlooking
a very
him.
important creative influence.
Yeah, and I sort of feel like the same thing is maybe happening to this guy, and I'm not worried about him. I think he'll be fine.
Yeah.
But there's not a lot of information, or at least I couldn't find any
Yet.
yet. But I
His
did.
star is on the rise.
I did in one interview discover he had some influences, particularly in the horror comedy genre. Sam Raimi, Edgar Wright. He really likes Wes Craven and the Coen brothers. So
Great.
I think this all fits.
They're very good about in some cases with the camp, also with like brevity. Like people.
Oh, the Coens especially.
Yeah. It's like there's a conciseness to like really good comedy.
Just funny looking.
Yeah, good for him.
Good for him. Who's your best supporting player?
I like the officer. It was pretty funny. The officer that keeps checking in.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because there's also like
I just
he's
told
playing
you
it
not
straight.
to come up here.
Yeah, he just when he pops through the door, I told you not to come. He's very earnest. He reminded me of like a Sam Richardson kind of character. Like I watched Werewolves Within recently, and he played he plays an officer in that, and this actor as the officer reminded me of him. There's something very sort of earnest in spite of like insane, like, well, this crazy shit keeps happening. Like,
I really liked. There's two. I'm kind of split between David, which is Ronnie Chang, the boss.
Yeah,
just because
he was
really funny.
I think he did a much better job doing what like Taika Waititi tried to do in Free Guy, and it didn't hit for me then.
Yeah.
But in this one, it hit so much more because it was so.
It was broad.
It was like stilted his way of delivery too.
Yeah.
In like the right way.
But if you've ever had experience working with people in tech, it's not that far off.
No,
like,
he's actually not that
mean,
far off. I think with anything, it's like I'm thinking about the Taika Waititi character in Free Guy. It was trying to be funny too much. Like it was trying to be too winky. And if you want to play a buffoon boss type, you have to
fully commit.
You have to be all in. Like you can't act like
you have to be an awful person and not know it.
Yeah, it's that kind of like
you can't pretend to know what you're doing.
I don't know. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah, I hear you. I'm also the one it's tied with. I gotta say, apart from him, was and I didn't write her name down, but the actress who played the therapist.
Actually, the therapist. She was really good.
She was very
really
grounded. She was kind of there to also help move the plot forward. Like
one thing I'll say. This is, I guess, more of a writing thing or just like a logistics thing that you let that go and you can still very much enjoy the movie.
Yeah.
But I was thinking if her grandparents want to take her in, wouldn't that make more sense than her living with the tech sister? Because the sister doesn't even seem like she wants her, but also doesn't.
Yeah.
Like it's so kind to her, and like she's very Allison does a great job as Gemma, but the motivation to take care of her niece was.
Yeah.
Once the social worker put it on the table, the grandparents are the father's parents, I guess.
Yeah.
In-law parent, whatever.
Yeah.
That's like, they'll take her in. It's like, well, then she'd be probably in like a normal suburban home with like a 2-parent household. And
No,
I'd rather live in the niece's like super nice tech house, like for sure, or live in the aunt's super nice tech house. But like,
and I did think that was very realistic. I work at a toy company. Inevitably, there's got to be. She makes her greatest product, her greatest invention, because she finally is around a fucking kid.
Yeah. The irony, right?
Yeah.
That she develops toys and is
and then
very
she does nothing
doesn't know how to take care of.
Yeah, that to me was very.
I liked how she was like, "That's not a toy." Like the display toys, and then she's like, "Okay, no, but you could sure."
No, when it was echoed,
you're not supposed to roll it.
When the child echoed it back,
Yeah.
like she heard how wrong it sounded,
Yeah.
and suddenly felt embarrassed. It was like,
Yeah.
I don't know. I agree with you though,
Because she's like valid to obviously have collectibles and all that crap, but then it's funny. It is always funny. Like it reminds it's like the 40-year-old virgin with the all the box toys.
Yeah.
This is very like he's got every collectible because he's never had kids.
It's
like,
troubling. Yeah, it's
he's
troubling.
He's never had sex. Like whatever.
Yeah, toys are meant to be played with. Would you watch this again?
Definitely.
Yeah, me
But
too.
I would definitely, like you suggested, which
Invite over all your rowdy friends.
yeah, it would be great to. Yeah, I mean, I'll definitely put it on my own because that's all. It's also one of those low stakes, easy to play while you're doing laundry or something like it's just nice, but also. Yeah, definitely you want to make this like a social occasion.
mean,
It's a good party movie. If you put it on in the background of a party, people will just start watching it.
They'll be pulled in. And
Yeah.
I recently went to visit an old friend of mine up in Tacoma who he is gay, and we
Yeah.
grew up together, and he's like my first gay friend, really my first like good friend ever. you
Yeah.
know? He has like a weekly get together with some of his friends, and I was part of it one Sunday, which is
Yeah.
fun. Oh my god, I'm surrounded by gay men. I love this. And it
There's
was
like a community aspect of
I was thinking in my head, oh my god,
this
this would be
movie.
the perfect movie to watch with all your gay friends.
Yeah.
and not exclusively, but just people who
it's gay as fuck.
It's very
it's a
queer.
it's a very gay movie.
But-
And it's
I
let's
mean, the killer doll.
celebrate.
Come on. It's fabulous, and I can't wait to see the drag performances it inspires. I can't
so
wait.
good.
I can't wait for Halloween.
she's just so many funny when she goes behind Jem and starts like stroking her hair like
Yeah.
you don't want to do all this
Yeah.
you should work
You're a
let me
brilliant
take care-
woman.
you're
You-
brilliant yeah the way she's stroking her hair I was like oh my gosh she's like she's
like,
literally grooming
she's like,
her
work is always going to be your true love.
oh my god she's
and
so
I also
fucking
just
funny.
love
So
can't
good.
sleep, occupational hazard.
Yeah that girl's got a fucking
And they're
sense
like,
of humor.
I only have one primary user now, me. I'm like, yes,
oh it's so good
fucking good.
Yeah.
So go see this.
you ungrateful little bitch
I thought we were having a conversation.
oh my god
Sassy.
Oh,
Fucking
I'm
love
afraid
it.
that won't work now. It sounded very like Hal.
It's so
I'm afraid
Hal.
I can't do that.
Yeah, yeah.
What if she started singing that song like as she was dying?
Daisy. It really did feel like
She did do a song that's like that though. What was the last song she sang before she gets axed? It's some kids. It's a very
shit.
kid song.
I forget.
It's not if you're happy and you know it, but it's like just smile or something. Smile or. I don't know, but I think they were. It seems like they were alluding to that, death of Hal
And I
type
think,
of thing.
The idea again of something that's designed to be a friend and help you
Yeah.
that takes on its own life.
And
I
then
mean,
you have to put it down,
Yeah.
and then suddenly
And I gotta.
Yeah.
I mean, the way they ended it, the very last shot.
it's perfect. No, it. I liked. They just ended it, and it was.
Yep.
I was ready for it to be over,
Yep.
but they.
But
didn't.
it was like when that camera held on that sort of home Alexa device. Yep.
she's in the cloud now, bitch.
She's in the cloud.
She's in the cloud
They can't
now.
lock this shit down.
Oh shit! What if she'll possess some other machine or
I
something?
can't-
She's probably already in the computer system, getting herself 3D printed in China or something.
You know what's so funny? The logic of Mitchell's versus the machines, I think, was in my head at
Yeah.
that moment. Yeah, like the whole world's doomed now.
Yeah.
Like, because everything's connected.
Yeah, it's all up in the cloud, bitch.
Oh.
She hacked the way she hacked into Gemma's computer. It's like, yeah.
I think some of those tension elements, her being able to intercept phone calls,
Yeah.
mimic voices, again, that tension or that ambiguity, I wish had just been pushed a little further. Like,
Yeah.
I wish that had been going on longer without us realizing it was her. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
I see what you're
there
saying.
Were a
I get
couple,
what you're saying.
there were just a couple of moments I'm like, ooh, like, I would have loved to have that that delayed just a little bit.
Yeah, the thriller aspect of this is not
It's not a
necessarily
thriller.
a thrilling
It's not a
movie.
thriller. Yeah.
You're not going to be on the edge of your seat. But you'll be ready to laugh.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Perfect way to end. Thank you so much for listening. If you like what you hear, go write us a review. Right now.
Please.
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 Please. You can also follow
Thanks.
us on Instagram and Twitter at Fresh Movie Pod, or just send us an email at abreathoffreshmovie.
Regardless of all that, thanks for showing up.
Oh
I'm
my
always
gosh.
grateful.
Yeah, and if you haven't heard it yet, go back and listen to the George Sanders impression contest episode because that was
Oh yeah.
a lot of fun.
lot of bangers.
Yeah, a little bonus.
It's
for
not,
you.
it's nuts top to bottom. It's stacked with bangers, I think.
People. I mean, and people. My mom. My mom.
Your
liked
mom's
it.
people.
My mom is people, and she thought it was a lot of fun. So
Yeah.
But I think everyone had a good time.
Heck yeah.
Yeah,
We did.
I did.
Yeah,
That's all I care about.
me too. Bye.